So, welcome to the Kickass Midlife Method podcast. I'm joined by some women live from my community, and we're talking today about sticking to your goals when life gets really overwhelming. Like, what do you do, and how do you set in place strategies to help avoid this? So, busy, what we'll cover is why being busy derails everyone at some point. So why you lose momentum, it's not about laziness, it's not about something not working. It literally is just about the consistency and being slightly derailed. How to lock in your goals and to reframe the goals. Sometimes it's really easy to lose track of why your goals matter to you. So doing a bit of reframing about around that and what to do when consistency disappears. So real practical steps. I think I've used in the past, talked about it like your kind of thriving in chaos kit list. So for your first day. So it's literally worth writing it down and having it. So I'm not kind of just saying it to be like, oh, this is a nice concept. Like literally write the 5 steps down. And next time you have a thing of like, oh my God, what's going on? Literally get it out and read it to get you back on track. Because always the solution isn't wait until things calm down. Because if you wait until things calm down, suddenly that can be like five weeks turned into 6 months, and suddenly you feel like you're back to square one and you feel like it doesn't work when really it's just about getting the steps in to get you back on track. So, like, part life gets in the way. These are the kind of things that I see often cropping up. Family demands, and at this age, it's often around aging parents, but not always. It can be also children and grandchildren. Travel, so holidays come up and then they disrupt your routine and you don't quite get it back. Or travel with work. Illness also is one of those big things that suddenly you get a bit ill. This happened to me recently, and norovirus, and then literally threw me for a bit for my strength training. Hormones, fatigue, emotional load, and just mental clutter. So um, it's not about falling off track because life happens. It's really about realizing that it's just about the system that you build, and it's making that as what's the word? The word escapes me, but as foolproof as bulletproof as possible. So because your goals, they need to be kind of worked towards no matter what happens in your life, because otherwise there'll always be something that derails you. Um, so this is what often happens. Work is one of those big ones which sounds valid. So it sounds like a really like, well, it's not me, it's work. Because work is always legitimate, it's always there, it's always deadlines, there's always something you've got to do. And so and if you let it, it can really derail you. You can really be like, I've just got to do this bit. Uh, I still do it. I still do this bit when I've got to go to the gym. I've just got to do that bit first. And it's really because it's a friction. It's hard to go to the gym, and your mind will put things in place of it. And they'll say, work is important. So therefore, you'll be like, oh, I'll just do this. And that can really derail your progress. And if you're working long hours, you get really tired, and then that is obviously going to affect your momentum and your consistency and your willpower to go. So, um, thinking about that constant context switching, I'll do it later. So work ends up filling every gap, and in your head, where you're like, well, it's not my, it's it's because work's really necessary. So you need a strategy that works, not just in a quiet week, but it'll work no matter what. And then there's perfectionism. There's this also crops up a lot when you don't see results fast enough. So you can sometimes get obsessed about, a person can get obsessed about the scales, or compare yourself to others and think, I'm not progressing as much as what I think this person is progressing. Therefore, this mustn't be working. Um, um, because you're not seeing like these huge results that you want, and you kind of give up. And then the other thing is after just 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes, particularly say if you've been on holiday and you come back and you haven't regained consistency and you're like, why isn't this working? So it's not the timeline, it's just about being perhaps impatient with the results and the process and just remembering that you just stick to the steps and it will happen. And then there are also people that will keep getting stuck in this pattern loop. So you start off really strong, really motivated, energized. Life hits, you stop, your all or nothing kicks in, and you restart and wait to feel ready again. And it's just about learning and recognizing the pattern so that you can disrupt that pattern because otherwise it will keep happening. You know, a bit like when you can get into that pattern of eating biscuits in the afternoon. It just becomes this habitual pattern. You think, God, I can't control it. It's just controlling me. I can't stop this. And it's literally like some of you are doing at the moment, your NEAT challenge, which is, you know, movement every day. If you just disrupt the pattern in some way, and all of you are doing that, are showing that actually it doesn't take more time. It's just about reframing the things you're doing in a different way. Similarly, if you're somebody that constantly starts off really strong, peters out, and then you just get to that point where you think, actually, it doesn't work for me. I just can't seem to stick to it. I better wait until I've got a clear run again and wait till I'm ready. It's just about looking at the pattern that you fall into and thinking, well, why do I keep doing that pattern? What can I actually do to change it? And that is going to be what moves you on. And then getting clear on your goal. Like some of you, when the first calls I have with you, you're really clear. We work really hard on defining exactly what your goal is and why that matters. And I think it's the why that sometimes in the general, you know, full onness of life gets lost and then you start drifting again. You can't quite remember, you know, you're like, I want to lose weight, but you can't really quite define what it is and what that will mean to you to lose weight or getting stronger. What does that actually mean? Or something like, I want to run a sub, even saying, if you're a performance person, I want to run a marathon in sub 3 hours 30. Again, it's not really, it's a bit vague, like why? What will that mean to you? Um, so I want you to be thinking about that. How will achieving whatever it is at first and foremost, and some of you have got lots of different goals, there could be a number of them. I want you to think about what's your top level goal. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do this amongst yourself. My goal is dot dot dot. And just keep it really specific. Just think about the top one, the like number one that's bothering you the most at the moment, that's giving you the most pain, for want of a better word. And then I want you to say, the real reason I want it is whatever this. If I achieve this, my life would feel this. And if I don't, what will stay the same? So I'm just going to give you 5 minutes to do that and try to, you know, on calls with some of you, I'm often people will be saying, oh, I will feel a bit happier. And then I'll dig a little bit deeper and lots more comes out. I'm not going to ask any of you to share. It's just for you. So try and really dig a little bit deeper about, you know, what would change for you and how you feel and how you show up in your life or your relationships or your work if you achieved dot dot dot. And if you don't, what will stay the same and how will that make you feel? And so these are your 5 ways to get back on track. So I'd really recommend you write them down and have them somewhere so that next time you have a kind of a week or a moment when you just like, oh, I just can't do it. It's just too difficult. You look at this and you think, okay, I'm going to follow these 5 steps because it will get you back on track. So shrink your goal immediately. So obviously there are lots of things that we do in this program. So what you should do if everything's becoming overwhelming, you just think about what is the one thing that I can stay consistent to because it will make a difference mentally, staying consistent to the process, whatever in whatever form that will make it so much easier. It's like pushing a huge boulder up a hill. If you stop everything, getting that start again is so much harder. Whereas if you just keep going on your kind of your floor, so rather than thinking about my ceiling, what am I going to hit, you're thinking about what will keep me grounded on the floor, the minimum that I can do. So yeah, literally a 10-minute walk will beat not doing anything. Your protein shake will beat not doing anything on your nutrition. If you can't track and you're on a tracking, not sometimes not all of you are on a tracking thing, but if you are still tracking your calories and you're like, I just can't do it, taking a photograph and posting that instead to your profile is better than not doing anything because at least you're stopping before you dive into your food and you're thinking, I'm taking this photograph. Have I got all three macros on it? No, I'll just add a bit of vegetables. So those things, just shrink your goal, shrink your strategy, and just do something that keeps you consistent. Remove the thinking. So anything that takes out decision making for you will make such a difference. Oh, thank you. Who did that? So pre-plan your workouts. It'll become really, you'll be like, oh, I'm too tired to do that. But honestly, just having the steps in, pre-plan it, sit down, pre-plan put your meals in your tracker. If you can't put your meals in your tracker, put your meals in your diary about when you're going to eat. Like literally, I know that sounds crazy and a bit obsessive, but actually I've seen so many times and I've done it so many times where you miss your lunch because work's so busy. It affects everything from there on in. So anything that will take away the decision making will make it easier. So you're not being hit by decision fatigue. Reconnect to your why. So go back to what you've just written and think about why will this change how I feel. It's not about changing. Yeah, try and dig deeper and think about what will it change emotionally for me to actually achieve this goal. So reconnecting to your why will really help because then, when your boundaries get like squeezed, it's normally because you've lost your perspective on like, why exercise, and if you have that understanding about what it will mean to you emotionally and how that will change your life, then it just reminds you of your perspective and allows you to push back your boundaries a little bit more and hold your boundaries for you. Interrupt the pattern early. So missed a few days, don't let it turn into 3 weeks, or don't let it turn into a week. Or if you've missed a week, don't let that turn into 3 weeks. Start being aware of your snakes and ladders. If you accept that progress is a snakes and ladders board and that there are snakes in the path and there always will be, part of your progress is identifying the snakes and just being aware of them next time and not being sent into a spin if you go down the snake. You're just like, okay, this happened before. What did I do? I did this, and you get back up and you go. So trying to interrupt because the more you're aware of those things, the more you spot it before. Maybe you spot it and you're on the head of the snake. You're not at the tail. And bit by bit, you recognize the patterns that you repeat. And then just track anything. So awareness creates control. So no data, total guesswork. So even a simple tick on your habit makes a difference. Your for you, the weekly review forms, if nothing else, that creates consistency. Just track something that gives you some data to go by. So those are your 5 ways to get back on track.